Well, thanks, guys. I'm inside now at Kevin Boon's home, where this pretty much the trophy room. You can see the Racing Post Juvenile Trophy. Murray's Act, of course, won earlier this year. Pride of place here. Plenty of other trophies to boot as well. He's a man who's been very successful at what he does. Now, I have to say that we've got some questions for you, Kevin, from some RPG TV viewers. The first one is an owner, Luke Thornley, who says, how many miles do you do roughly a year?
Roughly between 50 and 60,000 a year, which is quite a few miles, but it's enjoyable when you come home and you've had a win and you've perhaps won a competition, but there is always the downside. You can have a bad night and it's a lot further to come home.
Jason Gander, straight to the point, he basically just says, how are you such a god with dogs?
I'm a great believer is that if you feed them, you keep them warm, keep them well exercised, they'll run for you. Simple as that. That's what my bases are.
Peter Bridges, another owner, of course, involved with Pacey Bambi. He says, does Kevin think there's a track bias at Toaster?
No, but the only thing I will say is what I've seen at Toaster is I think with the traps sitting on the bend, they are sitting on a radius, and the camber comes round, and I always feel 6, 5 and 4 have got a half a metre head start when they go up, because when you sit and look at the head on, 1, 2 and 3 always move to the right. Well, if you're not running in a straight line, you're doing more distance, and then the opposite way around, 6, 5 and 4 are coming in the other way and they're coming down. So I think there is definitely a half a metre difference as the traps come up. Okay. Jamie Brinkley says, and I think we've touched upon this, but he said, what do you do other than the greyhounds? I'm just a builder. Like I said earlier in the interview, I used to build motorways for a living, and that was it. But I want to get back into greyhound racing, so I decided to go back into building and give myself a little bit more time for a hobby with dogs.
Okay, next one out of the hat is Gaz. I think he's as big a fan of Ibiza as I am, Kevin. He says, will you always just race and train your own dogs? Yeah,
at the moment, the enjoyment I get out of just doing our own is with my work and everything. I just don't want to accept that someone picking the phone up and say, will I run at sort of Newcastle tonight or Sunderland tomorrow night, when it's just not as nice as a hobby, so I can just go where I want and when I want, if sort of thing.
And David Hayward says, how much does it cost you in the average year? Of course, being an owner trainer, you're not sending out those owner's bills, are you? So how much does it cost roughly?
Well, we run it very, very professionally here, and last year we won 44,700 in prize money, and that paid for young Catherine full time. It paid for the diesel, the van, the food, everything. We had about £800 left at the end of the year. That also brought me 4 dogs through the year, but there was nothing left for me apart from that £1,000, which we left in the slush funding, ready to start this year. So yeah, we have made the dogs livable, and sort of like no deficit and nothing at the end of the year.
Okay. Johnny G says, Johnny G, I think we've had that in the news of late, haven't we? But he says, if one of your greyhounds doesn't win the derby at Toaster, which other one will?
The way JT Jet is running, you'd have to go along the grounds with that. You've seen its first run. A lot of dogs, what they've done in the first round, would have normally been out. But JT Jet has got this. He reminds me of my young Murray's Act. But what Murray Act does is go in, but JT Jet just holds a middle to wide all the way round, and he's just got that finishing strength. So he's never going to get himself in trouble. So yeah, he would be my sort of top dog, and also make history by winning 2 on the trot.
That would be some feat. And I think in terms of RPG TV, one lady should have the last word, and it's Tina. She says, does wearing a cheese cutter hat improve your training performance?
Yeah, and them dogs definitely know when that hat's on, you know the money's down. When it's not, you know I can't win that race.
Fantastic effort. Fantastic questions, guys.